Well, hello there. Hey, kids. Thanks for coming, joining. Should probably be pretty quick tonight. Going to do some updates and just wanted to say hi and howdy and how are you? And I haven't been back in the chair for a while, at least to talk to you for a minute. So, and for reasons, because it's been difficult. But yeah, nevertheless, we're just going to give you a quick little update on things and try to give you a better idea of kind of what's happening. And well, that's a question I get asked a lot. What's happening? Not just with me and this, but around, right? Like what's happening in the world. And man, well, it's a long story. But anyway, we'll get into it. So, get some cool water. I'm glad you're here. And let's see. Want to just thank you guys so much for dropping by, right? And I know it's kind of infrequent today. Hey, Steph, how are you? So good to see you. So yeah, it's been. I realize it's been sort of sporadic at best, right? I'm trying to get back into a groove, and we'll go through some stuff tonight. Just want to give you updates on what the plans are going forward and kind of where we're at. I'll try again. I am never intended for this to become, Baldini's medical mystery tour adventure journey or whatever. But since it, began, I feel like I have to kind of at least be transparent, give you guys some at least quick updates. So let's see. Let's go to here. So health updates. So the best I can give you right now, right, is that it's not super great. Not dead yet, but we don't know what's happening there. So again, a variety of things going on. If you're unaware, began about 3 years ago with weird symptoms of like this intractable vomiting, but without nausea. A very strange thing. It felt like a very strange stomach cramp, and with some other strange, weird symptoms. And so, and part of it was cyclical. I could track its time progression, that sort of stuff. And so just began doing a lot of research, a lot of tests, and over time, and so it had taken about 2.5, almost 3 years to come to a diagnosis of myalgic encephalomyelitis, which of course is a diagnosis of exclusion. There is no direct test for it, but essentially what that is, it is a neurological disorder. Hey, Gillette, how are you? Gillette's not a neurological disorder, no, but I have. Several. Anyway, so yeah, it's a neurological disorder that has to do with your inability to recover well after activity, right? So it creates a orthostatic intolerance, and so with any level of activity, it becomes extremely difficult for the body to recover. And so if I don't stop and recover, then that's when the intractable vomiting comes, because I've got a buildup of lactic acid and a whole bunch of stuff. So it's not even, again, it doesn't make you nauseous. You're literally cramping. So just learning kind of how to get through that. Dentures from having total extraction in preparation for implants, which is coming. I have another visit with my dentist to Monday, and then the periodontist the following week, and so we're making progress on that. And sooner or later, we'll get the implants. It won't be such a hassle, and hopefully, I'll be able to talk better by then, right? Because it's so weird having something that doesn't belong in your mouth. I'm not going to make any jokes about that other than to say I have a gag reflex, and it makes it difficult already. So from time to time, that's a challenge. So see what I mean? That's why I struggle to do these strips. Okay. I'm going to try to keep going. And then so about it was 3 days post-operation for the oral surgery. When I woke up, I don't know, very early in the morning, about 4:30. Well, I don't know, signs of a stroke or whatever. So I had extreme pain on the trigeminal nerve, which attaches to the left mandible, right at the jaw, right, and so muscle weakness and trembling, tremors real bad. and neuropathy like everywhere. And then I was like, oh, what's happening, right? And I went and jumped in the shower, and it was really that was kind of even scarier because it was a very clear, razor sharp defining line between the left and the right. I'm like, oh crap, I'm stroking, right? Anyway, I went to the doctor, managed to get again miraculously, like I can get in within like 2 weeks for even a video appointment. But I have an open, like a standing order at the lab, so I can bring in UA or get a blood draw because we constantly are doing tests. So I said, well, I'll run over to the lab, but they were closed. But they said, hey, your doctor's here, and she just had a cancellation. You want to go in? So again, miracle. And she takes one look at me and calls an ambulance to send me over for imaging. And so ongoing since then, but I've had these a variety of seizures, right, that create these tremors, and it looks very much like shell shock or whatever. Um, some days are worse than others, some days less, but overall, looks like we have a serious degenerative, neurological disorder. So it's probably not going to get much better. Best I can hope for at the time. At least this is what we are led to understand, is to somehow, ameliorate or mitigate its progression, right? Because part of it is the seizures, which affect not only the nerves that are attached to the muscle groups and the sensation stuff, but also the cerebral cortex, right, as it goes up into your brain, because that's a big bundle of nerves. So that affects all kinds of stuff. So little seizures pizza? No. These little micro seizures I have today affect vision, right? So suddenly I'm blind for a minute, which is very weird. It's not black as you'd imagine, or at least that's not what happens to me. It's just kind of this gray static, like it doesn't resolve. And it's just a very weird thing. But also affecting memory. So I have trouble creating memories through the day. It's a real hassle. But the, I guess the upside or whatever. I have, however, been accepted into the University of Washington Neurological Center, and they have 4 different disciplines taking a look at me. So I'm going to get all wired up over the next few months, and they're going to, see if they can figure out what's going on. Now, I have a lot of ideas. Probably there's some of it that's going to be environmental, probably, but it may go back to my working theory. Basically, is that about 10 years ago, 11 years ago now, had back surgery, had a synovial cyst, which at L5S1, which is basically the synovial sheath that surrounds your spinal column. Had a little weak spot in it, and so it pooched out a little bit. So there's cerebral spinal fluid in there, and that is kind of pressurized, and so it creates a little pooch, like if you get a blood blister in your finger, that little, it's like that. But unfortunately, where that happened was right on top of the ganglion nerve root that comes out of L5S1, so it was like a pinched nerve. 30,000 pinched nerves. It was unpleasant. But they were, first able to aspirate it, just kind of drain it and put some cortisone in there. I was right as rain for about a year. And it came back, and then they did the same procedure. It calcified. So now I had a bone spur sitting on top of that. Anyway, this required back surgery, which led to all sorts of stuff, right, with gastroparesis and opioid issues, of all kinds after post-surgery. But prior to the surgery and shortly after, they had me on these ridiculous doses of gabapentin, Neurontin. Which hadn't been tested, but I was tolerating it well. It's a nerve blocking agent, but I was finding these weird side effects, like word finding issues, and also neuroplasticity and stuff, which seems very weird for at that time 42, 43-year-old adult. It was very weird. Anyway, I have a theory that this is all somehow related to like a delamination, a demyelinization, basically. The myelin sheath that surrounds your nerves to protect them has gotten thin enough that it's causing crossed signals, and that's what I think is happening. So I need their big fancy machines to prove that out. I'm not going to trust them for anything beyond that. And what's more, I think Dad is in the middle of it. I think he's going to use this somehow, maybe just to knock me in the head and tell me I'm ridiculous, but whatever. But it has a little bit of a fire on me, and I'm trying to do some stuff, just in case, right? In case the degeneration is faster than expected, then we'll, I got to make a move. So making a move. So the next thing is we've been talking for a while about getting the heck out of Seattle. It's a crap hole. They've turned it that way, and so more things have gone on, and so we're getting closer and closer to that. So again, not working anymore, and in part due to the inability to work, right, because of the this neurology thing. So anyway, kind of looking for a place to be and definitely get out of the city of Seattle. So we're kind of looking around at that. Been talking to my brother and my dad since my mom passed recently. They're kind of looking for the same thing, so we're trying to get some people together, and exactly. So, and I'm trying to get again some people together and just help each other out, right? Because everybody's struggling right now, not just me, right? And I don't tell you this stuff so you feel bad for me. That's not the intention. It's just people ask, and so that's where we're at. But I think, right, I've already started some really heavy doses of vitamin B12 and using some other tips and tricks and trying to keep do this stuff to see if we can get some myelin growth. It's slow going, but better than poking the eye with a sharp stick. So hey, Gillette, maybe, right? So thank you. And as that time gets, so here's the new progression, right? So the thing is, we're going to have to leave sooner than later. Because all things work together, right? For those who love Dad. So 2 days ago, it was I'd already heard from one of the neighbors because they had found something at the city courthouse or the city logistics thing, because she was looking at there's construction going on, a new Porsche dealership going on down the street. They've been closing off the street. It's been causing disruptions, and so one of my neighbors went to the city planning department, right, to see if they were doing it properly, because one day they closed off both ends of the street, which of course is not good. That they had made an error, and I helped her work through that one. But when she went down there to file some paperwork, she also noticed that the little place in which we live, which is it's a little senior park, right, for us old people, and a bunch of tiny houses and a couple of double wide manufactured homes, trailer parks that back in the back. So anyway, we're in one of the little tiny houses closer to the front, and it was super convenient, but it's ridiculously expensive. It's less than 500 square feet and pay like $1,200 a month, right? So anyway, short story long. The owner of this place and the other one out in Issaquah, he's got a very big place out there. Anyway, he's becoming very old, and his son's not interested in taking over the business, so he's going to sell it. So that will mean, presumably, given property values and where this sits in relation to a major arterial, Highway 99, and just a hop, skip, and a jump over from I-5, it is likely that it will be rezoned as commercial, and probably, in other words, when they sell it, we'll be out. So now, we have to go. So no dragging the feet. Anyway, so again, that's how Dad works, right? So, you're dragging your feet a little bit. Well, here, now I have to go. So, fortunately, we're not being evicted this week or anything. I'm sure when they sell it, we'll have a short period of time to give us notice. But already, I've been trying to put things together and organize our stuff, and in part also because of the the lack of income, right? So I've been trying to figure out things I can sell. Over time we did that already, downsizing and stuff. But if we're going to try to pursue some of these other ideas, we're going to have to get everything down to the smallest stuff possible, right? So anyway, going to go through the storage unit, try to get rid of or something with pretty much everything, as well as the stuff here at the house, keeping only the stuff that we need. He always makes a way, absolutely. So I trust Dad implicitly through all this, right? Though he slay me, yet I will trust him. All right, so okay, so there's that. Now, I guess I better tell you this before I forget, because I do have this terrible memory thing. It's not helpful. I'm having to write everything down, but I'm literate, so I can write things down. I just have to remember to do it. Anyway. as you probably noticed, or maybe you didn't, haven't been on for a couple of weeks at least, and that is in part because I managed to get myself into a little hot water with the folks at YouTube, and I got another community guidelines strike. Although this one was from about 3 years ago, an early Poppycock Report episode that was on my channel. So. Yeah, they got me and the odd thing was, right, I had made all of those episodes on my channel. I had unlisted them. They're all in a playlist, and I had unlisted the playlist. So unless you knew the direct address of it, it's kind of weird. Anyway, so it's the second one, but I hadn't seen it for a while. And so by the time I got to it, I realized it said, you have a community guidelines strike, blah, blah, blah. And usually they'll give you the opportunity to put in to appeal it, but they said my appeal had already been rejected. So I hadn't even had time to appeal it anyway. So now I got 2 strikes on this channel. So that's awkward, especially since as my wife says, I'm a serial truth teller, and in a world that is built upon illusory experience of lies. Telling the truth, right, is anathema completely. So, definitely that's going to get me in trouble. So what to do? So I figured before I lose access completely, right. Oh, awesome! You're wearing your FTFF shirt. That's so awesome, man. I got mine. I know right when mine's in the drawer, but it's clinging and ready to go. Rather than risk the, I guess I'll do what everybody else. Okay, reconnection. Good. Okay, so still got a stream. Good. Okay, so one of the things that we're doing is I'm going to make a couple of different channels, backup channels, and probably another platform as well. And I already have a Rockfin thing, but that's behind a paywall. I think. I mean, it was previously. It's like $5 a month, and then you get like everybody, right? But I think they've changed that, so I'm not exactly sure what that looks like. But anyway, in anticipation, right, of things going wrong, I want to be able to continue to reach out. So I believe I still have a Rumble thing I did a long time ago. Probably look into that as well. But so it's kind of like this. There you have a lot of freedom, right? But here is where the traffic is. So I'm going to have to do something like a lot of people have done, which is you kind of tease it on the one platform and then move to the other. But I've also taken the steps of creating a backup channel, at least a little bit, right? And separating things out. So we're going to do it this way, right? So let me see if I can, where did I put this? Is it here? Oh, so anyway, all the stuff. So all the stuff that you would see in Ancient Wisdom for a modern world, anything channel coming up, and I'm looking for it right here so I can. Oh crap! Are we back? Okay, because it said I was off for a minute. Sorry about that. All right, so here we go. I'm going to show you this. So I'm going to do just another channel here to start with, and I'll try to show you this right here if I can. Here we go. Okay, so I've created a new channel, and I would love to have you subscribe to it. That's the name of the channel. I'll try to make sure I put the link in the description. I'll have to edit it real quick, but I'll go back and backfill it. Monogesis, exegesis, Molgosis exegesis, and it's a little play on words there. I hope you get it. Exegesis, right? You can look that up real quick. It's pretty straightforward. This is a play on words. So logos, right in the middle of somebody's name there. Okay, so anyway, it's a cute little play on words. But so you don't have to spell it. If you there's the handle, and the email address is going to be mex.podcast@gmail.com, right? So Mex is not Mexican, although I love Tex-Mex. That's Molgosis exegesis .podcast, at gmail.com. That's the email address. And then this is so you can see it's brand new, no subscribers, no videos, but that is where I will begin to put and do regulars. So my plan here is hopefully, I'll get my poop together here next few days, and certainly if not this week or next, certainly probably by September 1st. And then the only reason it would stop is if we have to stop to move or whatever. But essentially I'm going to start doing, daybreak and maybe evening stuff as well. But on the Mologosas Exegesis will be specifically these spiritual content, right? So all the ancient wisdom for modern world, reading of Psalms. I had promised some people, and this is what I think I want to do as a kind of a project, right, is to sort of paraphrase, do a little, the Baldini version of Psalms and Proverbs. Kind of, not quite the message, right, but kind of a, anyway. And perhaps set that to music, right, something that you could download and listen to if you need encouragement, right, that anybody could have access to, that they could just, download those, because I listen to the Psalms very frequently. When I'm driving around or just kind of working, I got the earbud in, and I'm using an app that has many versions, and some of them have voiceover, right? So I do it a lot. So some people have asked me for that, so I thought, hey, fun, I'll just put some noodle music underneath it, real quiet and soft, and do that. Something that you can grab onto there. So that'll be that's Mologosas Exegesis. And then, so there's that channel. The other thing, the shaking hands thing, still haven't let that go. Trying to work into that, but I got to get all the medical stuff put together. The shaking hands thing, again, the idea is to go on a bus king tour, right? So get a bus, RV, right, and just begin going down the West Coast and then heading east from there, but stopping stopping at every little burg along the way, and every place that we get invited, right, do the advanced work and have us a place that we can pull up and set up and just start, busking, playing music, noodling, right, and then set up a few tables and chairs where people can get together, and while they're sitting there, right, learn that their neighbor is not their enemy, right? When you shake hands and look into the guy's eye, and spend a little time having a genuine, non-confrontational, non-antagonistic, genuine interrogatory conversation, right? Get to know what the guy's about and gal, right? It gives us opportunity to care for one another, right? And to help each other, because it's up to us to help one another, right? And we can't do this alone. None of us, right? We have to help support one another. We do this, through prayer, and also through encouragement. So anyway, that's a scoop there. Look for new content coming soon, Mologosas Exegesis, and then I'll announce another, like a Rumble thing or whatever, for the more controversial stuff, right? Because there's also, we're going to do, also coming soon, is the crock pot, right? And so the crock pot, is that still a thing? Yes, but again, I got to kind of get it all. It's got to be consistent, and I had to get healthy first, right? So that's going to renew as a early morning show. It's going to have its own channel, most likely, right? Because it'll be more controversial stuff. And if I get, then there it is. I won't cry over it. But it's just, we're going to take a look at the news and all that sort of stuff. Similar to, and I might even do once or like twice a day, like a morning thing and an afternoon thing, very similar to what I grew up with, was Paul Harvey News and Comment. And just, a brief 3 to 5 minute overview, but with, a perspective of, somebody who doesn't have their head up there. Well, I mean, that doesn't believe mainstream media. How about that? Anyway, so we got that going for us, which is nice. What else did I have to talk about? Is that it? What else is going on? I wanted to really, again, every time say thank you so much. So I see, Gillette and Allison and Joe, and I know Alexander, and Charles, and David and Jen, and so many people. You guys have been just so amazing. in keeping me encouraged, and I want to say thank you, right, and for material gifts, like some of you guys have donated monetarily at a time that you don't know that, like, every one was a miracle. It was exactly what we needed, right when we needed it. It's like, oh my gosh, it is a little nerve wracking sometimes, but I know, Dad is trustworthy, and so I know that it's always, at his bidding. So those who listen and respond to that is your most appreciated, and I kind of point this one out frequently, right? That Jesus said, "Inasmuch as you've done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me." And in the context, right, he was kind of talking about, right, that, and he went further, right, to say that take care of of the stranger, right, and the stranger that's within that gate, right, because that many have, he said, entertained angels unaware. And so you get a sense there that it's kind of both sides of the coin are available there. If you treat his children well, then you'll get treated well, right? And if you treat them poorly, right, it's there. And so I get that sense, right? That and he said also this, right? That he's gonna whoever receives the prophet, and in the name of a prophet receives a prophet's reward, right? So it's when you respond and are obedient to the little nudges of Dad, right? I think, like, he seems really proud of those. More than the command, like, do this, right, or you're going to be in trouble, because he can be kind of loud sometimes when you're headed down the wrong way, and he's got to slap you upside the head. At least that's my experience, right? I only have to be hit upside the head with a 2x4 4 or 5 times before I figure it out and go, oh yeah, don't go that way. Okay. But it's the subtle things, right? And he says, you can be, don't be like a donkey, right, where I have to lead you with a bit and a bridle, but let me guide you with my eye, so that when you're close enough, I'm sure I'm sure everyone here has had the experience as a kid that your mom didn't even have to say anything, right? You just give you that look and you're like, oh dear. But yeah, being guided by the eye, right? You don't need to be beat with a whip to respond. Just a little gentle nudge, right? And that's and so as we become increasingly sensitive to that, and better disciplined to respond to it, and more obedient to it, right? I think we all, over time, again, my experience is, become better able to hear it, and better able to discern the difference between what perhaps are my thoughts, or the whispers of some malevolent source. It's pretty clear to me now over a long period of time, but early on, there's a lot of stress, right, over trying to figure out what am I really listening to, right? What do I need to do? So, again, I will say that from my experience, right, and from my observation, a contrite spirit and a broken heart he'll not cast out. I've had a number of people say that they've tried to reach out and didn't get any answer, and I'm like, maybe, I don't know. I don't like to be like that, but like, maybe he's just not that into you. Maybe it's just like he just knows that they're just not that kind of a person, right? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I was like, I can't explain him. I don't pretend to talk for them. I just talk to them and then listen, when I as best I can. But I think that is important, right, that we listen. The story of Elijah, right, the still small voice. He was listening for direction from God, tell him what to do next. And there was a fire, and Dad wasn't in the fire, and there was a whirlwind, right? and he wasn't in the whirlwind. And there was a thunderstorm, right? And to seek shelter from the fire and the whirlwind of the thunderstorm, he found himself at a cave. And only then did he hear the still small voice in his spirit from Dad. And he was very clear about that, right? It's not the big... there are times in the past that Dad has shown up, kind of showed off a bit. But mostly these days, right, it's the subtlety. And to see who follows along, right? And again, J. Bro said it very clearly, that broad is the way that leads to destruction, and narrow is the way, straight is the gate. And few there be that find it, that leads to salvation. So it takes a great deal of temerity, and as you already know, pretty thick skin, right, to deal with ostracism and rejection and people just saying that you're stupid, whenever you tell them that the things that they believe are most likely a lie. And especially if you have evidence for it, right? They ain't going to dig that. So you already know the path is difficult and fraught with peril. And now I think it's important again to realize that the way I read it, and I'm not trying to be negative Nelly here, right? But the way I read it, it's not going to turn to get better until the end. So from here forward, it's only going to get increasingly more desperate and worse. And again, that sounds really bad, but I receive it again with joy, because every step deeper into the cave leads one step closer to home, right? And so that is something that I can absolutely get behind, right? I know, I can smell it now, man. I can tell it's close, right? And so, but I don't want people to get discouraged if they believe, for example, in the rapture, and they think they're going to get taken away before anything bad happens. It's like, well, that's not what Jesus said, right? It's not what he said. It's not what Scripture describes. So, words never used there. So then when that doesn't happen, right, and there are huge numbers of martyrs, then you're going to lose your faith and go, that's not what I thought. No, and I thought was going to happen. I guess everything I thought was a lie. Right? And so, right, we'll cover it again, because this is something I really want to cover in depth and encourage you with, right? So I know it sounds kind of morbid and bad, but it's not, right? It's because again, he says in Revelation, right? These are my followers, that they did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death, right? When it came down to it, right? And it says this requires the patience of the saints, right? That you endure until the end, right? And I think that there is something to it says we shall overcome, right, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of his testimony, and essentially, in some ways, going through a little bit of what he did, right? The persecution and ultimately, martyrdom. Not everybody, but there's going to be a lot. It seems, right? That's what I read in Scripture. It seems like that. And so I want to say, right, be of good cheer, be encouraged, know that it's coming. Don't be surprised by it. Don't be freaked out by it. Right? Because if you're expecting that any day now it's going to turn and suddenly we win, right? And all the bad people are going to get exposed, and daylight comes in and the cockroaches go running. They may even do a show of trying to do that, right? But I guarantee what comes next after that is many orders of magnitude worse until Dad comes home, right? So don't be fooled. Don't be taken in by a little bit better, right? By the promise of peace and safety, because when he promises peace and safety, then sudden destruction. And that's couldn't be more clear about that. Isn't that funny? And it's hard to get there on the screen. It cracks me up. Anyway, but I want to encourage you to be Gird your loins, right? So it's a funny thing, right? Sack up, basically, is the that's what they were saying, right? Gird your loins, sack up, man. Get mount up and face this thing. It is not gonna. It's a spiritual battle, right? And you're not going to win it by digging in further and buying more cryptocurrency. You're not gonna win the spiritual battle, right? By doubling your net worth. Your only hope, so far as I can tell, right, is connection to Dad. Seek out, find him, and if you don't hear, keep begging, right, until you hear, and make that connection, because that then is hope, right? Because the ultimate hope is that this is all made new, right? That he absolutely will keep his promises. That's my experience again. Absolutely keeps his promises. He will do everything he says, right? And he is. This is his. He made it, right? He's in control of everything, right? You. Don't be afraid of the video game if you know the guy who wrote it, the software engineer, right? He wrote the game and the hardware, right? It's all his. So no worries. Don't have to worry about anything, right? But just hang on and hang tight. And I think it's important that we hang together, right? That we help one another. And so that's my encouragement for you tonight, right? No matter what you're going through, and I know you are. I know that if you are following the way, and if you are really seeking truth, that right now you're going through some serious shit, right? And if you're not going through some serious shit, then maybe recalibrate, because it is war, and we are deep in war right now. And so many people don't realize that we are. But we are on the battlefield, and it's you cannot just duck your head and hide, right? Because that makes you a hindrance. So, pick your side and go with it. But again, I am here to encourage you right now to say, steel yourself. This is battle, right? But you have the opportunity to be fucking heroic, because Dad said, right, in your weakness I am strong. You don't have to worry about whether you're going to be good enough or strong enough or brave enough or any of that stuff, because as long as you hang on to him, he says, don't even worry about what you'll say in that moment, right? I'll give you everything you need in that moment to cut them down to size and cut them to the quick. That they will know that you're speaking with the Spirit of the living God. Boom, right? So don't worry, right? And I know it sounds Pollyanna-ish. It sounds like, I'm like, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. Everything's not going to be fine until the end, right? But then everything's going to be more than fine, right? Because this is, we were made for this world, and we can say this is not our home, but it was, but it's broken. And then we can sense it, right? It's a perfect world broken. And now we have a sense of frustration and anger and hurt because it's broken and we don't know why. And then they keep lying to us, right? They'll never tell us the truth. And so we can never know where we come from or the truth about anything, right? So stop asking them. Stop believing them, right? Go to the source. Go to Dad. And know that pretty much everything they tell you is a lie. It's okay. I know it's a process, right? It's really a shock, and it makes you angry. You go through the whole grieving process, right? So denial, anger, bargaining, right? It's the grieving process. But when you can let it go, right, and realize that none of that means anything, and when you understand that everything is connected, and there's nothing that you can touch that doesn't leave an impression, and there's nothing that you can do that is unimportant. You are not unimportant. In fact, you're the most important thing. If your soul wasn't valuable, you don't think why would they work so hard to get it? They're going through an awful lot of effort to take your soul, deny them the opportunity, right? Grab onto that thing and give it back to Dad. It's like, there, go get it, right? In this moment, right, be encouraged, be of good cheer. If God be for us, who can be against us, right? All we have to do is hang on to him, and it's done. Again, I can be realistic and go, from this day forward, it's only going to get shittier, right? But if your expectations are that you're going to get, it's going to be perfect, and we're going to right the ship and turn it over and sail into utopia, then you're going to be disappointed. But if you set your expectations properly and go, yes, okay, but it's battle, and you know what, we're going to win. And I will tell you for sure that I am not going into that long good night peacefully. I intend to make it count. So when they come for me, right, they're gonna know what happened. They're gonna know. They'll know it. I intend to leave a mark. So I'm not telling you what to do, right? I'm just saying. Make up your mind and make your choices now. It makes it a lot easier, right? A lot easier. Because the decision's already made, and so you set your threshold when it comes. There's not even a question. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Just a little update on what's happening overall. If you've got questions, comments, you can certainly reach out, contact me. Most of you know me personally already. Like most of you can just pick up the phone and call me. So anyway, love you guys for real. And I appreciate you so much for being there and being encouraging and uplifting, and we'll pray for you. I see that we keep glitching out here. Turned off all of our basically all of our other utilities other than like the basics, electricity, water, and just lights and stuff, and internet. No TV, no nothing else, just internet. But they still, it's funny. Anyway, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for being here. And so now you know what to expect. I'm not gonna go anywhere. Well, I am gonna go, but you know what I mean. I'm not going away until they make it. Until they make me. So, FTFF, don't take any bullshit, but be nice to people, right? Be kind, because it's important. It's his kindness that leads us to repentance. Thanks for showing up. It's great to see you. Add some old tunes here for the way out, and I hope you guys have a great night, and I will probably be back tomorrow. Because, I do that. But anyway, you guys have a great night. And
feel the night, face the day, watch the starlight slip away. Trust the light, pray for dawn. In the morning, see the sun. I crossed the desert to find the well was dry. I close my